My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers has hit back at the Electoral Commission for attributing to them claims they did not make during a recent press conference by the EC. Amongst other corrections, the National Coordinator of Codeo, Albert Ahin, stated Codeo stands by its observer who reported an incident at a polling station in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency where a stationed uniformed police officer was attacked for questioning and directing some plainclothes security operatives at the polling station to reposition themselves.
Codeo wishes to state categorically that, 1, contrary to the impression created by the EC regarding the shooting incident at Labauleshi, Codeo did not indicate anywhere in its statement that the said shooting incident took place at a polling station. Codeo was clear in its statement that Codeo observers witnessed a violent incident, including shooting incident, which took place in the Labauleshi area at East Legon. The Codeo statement also did not in any way attempt to link the Electoral Commission to the shooting incident, contrary to the EC's claim. Codeo, in fact, pointed out that its observers could not confirm the exact cause of the violent incident. 2, the Electoral Commission also in its statement denied that the violent incident which took place at Labauleshi affected voting. According to the Commission, the incident did not in any way disturb the conduct of the poll. Codeo wishes to reaffirm its initial observation that as a result of the panic and chaos emanating from the shooting incident, voting was in fact temporarily disrupted at a police station close to the shooting incident. Regarding the incident at a police station at the precinct's JHS police station at Roman Ridge, where a stationed uniformed police officer was attacked for questioning and directing some plainclothes security operatives at the police station to reposition themselves, Codeo stands by the account of its observer and is ready to cooperate with the Electoral Commission and the security agencies to undertake further investigation into this matter. Contrary to the Electoral Commission's suggestion that Codeo did not provide an overall picture of the conduct of the polls, Codeo wishes to draw the attention of the EC to the paragraph in the Codeo statement which noted that apart from the main concerns regarding security arrangements for the by-election, and I quote, most observers reported of a generally smooth voting exercise, including the smooth performance of biometric devices, end of quote. The Codeo statement further touched on other issues, such as the presence of party agents at police stations and the generally low voter turnout, which indeed has been confirmed by the EC's official turnout figure for the by-election at 19.83%. Codeo further reiterates the point indicated above that its close of poll statement, which is typically released at the end of voting, provides a snapshot of an election. Indeed, the Codeo initial statement clearly indicated that Codeo will continue to observe the counting and declaration of results and will issue its preliminary statement in due course. Codeo wishes to assure the EC and the general public that, in line with its standard practice, its final report on election, which will provide a comprehensive assessment of the by-election, will be released in the coming days. Codeo has attached as an appendix to this statement
This afternoon, there's serious confusion in Parliament. The majority and minority sides are at each other's throat. The Speaker has had to sack a minority MP for Tamale, who faced the sack, and he's accused of making unparliamentary remarks in the House. Now, and all these are happening because of the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election violence, which led to the injury of some residents. The NPP's candidate Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan won the contest by a very wide margin. But the aftermath has been the one of anger among the public over the shooting and the subsequent display of displeasure by the opposition NDC. Now, today, that's what is playing out after the minority displayed placards with inscription "Bloody Widow." All these plus Iyoko's response to the Ayawaso West Wuogon violence and the report by Codeo today. But that moment when Alasan Suhini was sent out of the house, let's check that out.
Mr. Speaker, it's unfortunate that the leadership of the minority should actually find a defense that at the time the member had not been sworn in. I do not think that this is a good defense to tell Ghanaians, and I would expect that leadership of the minority should come. This is affecting the House. This is a noble House, and such statements should not be conspicuously displayed in the House. And therefore, I will urge the minority to actually think through this in order that we could have peace in this House and for the betterment of the nation.
Honorable member for Tamale North. Honorable, can you leave the House? Honorable member for Tamale North, can you leave the House? Please, Marshal, ensure that you leave the House. Yes. Order! 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 I thought that in order to bring this matter to a close, we would just apologize and let go. It doesn't appear to me that that is the path the minority leadership agrees to. They want the individual members who were holding the placards with the description "Bloody Widow." In that circumstance, I will revise my order. But I'll hear the deputy minority leader, and then I'll revise my orders.
Let's go live now to Parliament House, where my colleague Joseph Opoku Gakpo is with some MPs. Good afternoon to you, Opoku Gakpo. First, tell us how it all started. Hello, Gakpo, if you can hear me,
so
please.
It all started with an indication from the majority. Aisha, if you can hear me, it all started with an indication from the majority bench, particularly the Deputy Majority Whip, Matthew Nindam, that they would want an apology from the minority. And he raised this issue on the floor of Parliament, quoting the standing orders of the House and indicating to the Speaker that the action by the minority MPs was unparliamentary, and quoting the standing orders of the House and requesting of the Speaker, in this case, First Deputy Speaker Joseph Oseus, who was in the seat, requesting of him that he directs the minority to apologize over the display of those sheets with the inscriptions "Bloody Widow." Bloody Widow. But then he got a response from the minority side that they were not ready to apologize. James Klucha Veji, who is a deputy minority leader, drew attention to two things. First of all, he said that per the standing orders of the House, the reference is to speeches that go against colleague members of Parliament. But as far as he was concerned, there was no speech on the floor. There was just the display of inscriptions. And secondly, when the said actions were undertaken, Lydia Sarah Mahassan was not yet a member of Parliament. She was still MP-elect and hadn't been sworn in. And so on that basis, the requirement in the standing orders that any comment against a member of Parliament should be withdrawn if the Speaker deems it unparliamentary does not apply. It became a debate that lasted for well a little over an hour, until eventually the first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Owusu, ruled. And his ruling was that the acts of the minority MPs was unparliamentary, and so he directed that on behalf of the minority MPs, the leadership on the minority side should apologize to Lydia Sarah Malhassan. He got a response from the minority bench. The deputy leader, James Aveji, said they weren't going to apologize because they saw nothing wrong. Muntaka Mubarak, who is actually their chief whip, also added onto it and said that they were officially challenging the ruling of the speaker and the directive that he had given that they should apologize and that they will go through the necessary steps in order to challenge that. So they weren't going to apologize. Eventually, the speaker withdrew. He gave the indication that he was correcting his earlier ruling that the minority leadership should apologize, and that in its place, he was directing the Clerk of Parliament to do a review of the footage from yesterday so that the individual members of Parliament who were holding the placards are actually identified and referred to the Privileges Committee of Parliament for the necessary action to be taken against them. So that's what eventually became the decision of the Speaker, that the clerk reviews the tapes for the individual MPs who were holding the placards to be referred to the Privileges Committee of Parliament for the necessary investigation as to whether their acts were in contempt of Parliament or otherwise.
Gakpo, let's understand something here. If the MP was asked to step out of Parliament, what does that mean? Did they explain that to you? That does it mean suspension from other sittings or just today? What does that mean?
So the incident you are referring to has to do with the Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Owusu, ordering the MP for Tamale North, Hassan Suhini, to step out of the chamber. This happened in the midst of the back and forth debate in connection with the demand for an apology. So at a point in time, Hassan Suhini hadn't been recognized by the Speaker to speak, but he had spoken on the floor and was loud in what he was saying, insisting that the minority MPs were not going to apologize for the said comment. And so eventually, Joseph Osei-Owusu, the Deputy Speaker, asked that Hassan Suhini leaves the House. And in fact, Joseph Osei-Owusu asked that the Marshal ensures that he leaves the chamber. So he got up, got to the edge of it. He was escorted out by one of the guards in Parliament. As he walked out, he was repeatedly making the point that there is the need to apply fairness in terms of how things are done in the House, and really raised his voice even as he walked out of the chamber. But Aisha, you were asking what exactly this means. We understand that this means that for the rest of the sitting today, he won't be able to participate in the sitting. The directive was to allow for some order in the House per how the Speaker wanted to run the proceedings of the House. So tomorrow, for example, Hassan Suhini can return to the chamber and continue with his work as a member of Parliament. We got reactions on that from Hassan Suhini himself, who thinks the directive was unfair because he says in the heat of the exchanges and the noise that was being made in the House, he makes reference to Kennedy Japong, for example, who he says was also making noise, and the Speaker just asked him to keep silent. There were other MPs who were making noise in the background. There were other backbenchers, both on the majority and the minority side. There were some on the majority side who were shouting repeatedly, "Shame, shame." The Speaker only asked them to keep quiet and did not order them out of the House. So he sees it as a little unfair. Muntaka Mubarak, the chief whip on the minority side, also holds a similar view that the Speaker could have asked the leadership of the minority to draw Hassan Suhini's attention and to call him to order, than to order him out of the House, and that that was a little high-handed in terms of how the Speaker handled it. But his colleagues on the majority side disagrees. The MP for Asante Achim South, lawyer Kwame Animeduyantu, believes the order was appropriate in order to restore order in the House. So from tomorrow, Suhini would have the opportunity to return to the House if he so wishes.
I'm sure by now the minority has a plan B in place. What's next for the minority as far as this Ayawaso violence issue is concerned? You have any idea?
So Muntaka Mubarak tells me for them on the minority side, their members who've been referred to the Privileges Committee, him as minority whip, he's ready to ensure that the MPs show up at the Privileges Committee and go through the necessary processes. But he is very much convinced that what they did didn't amount to something that's in contempt of Parliament, and so they look forward to how the proceedings will unfold eventually. Well, going forward, the minority has indicated that sometime next week, Tuesday, if they don't see any arrests in terms of those who perpetrated the acts of violence in Ayawaso West Wuogon, they would march to the police headquarters again to demand action. But for now, they are focusing on the happenings at the level of the Privileges Committee, even as that matter has been referred to the committee to look into.
Well, many thanks to Opoku Gakpo. We'll be coming back to you when there need be. And Opoku Gakpo is my colleague in Parliament, and he's been monitoring events there.